it going, guys? Well, that was almost one of those stylish whip pans. Right, anyway, I'm going to try some different speakers in my Blug Nano Cab. Not because I'm not happy with the sound of it, I just, I like to experiment with stuff. I'm going to document my thoughts as I go along here. I'll give you my first impressions when I try each of the speakers, and I'll also stick a mic on the cab so you can hear an isolated example. I'm going to be trying a Celestion Heritage 30 and a Vintage 30, which is a pretty standard speaker for guitar applications, and also whatever's in the Blug right now, which is a proprietary driver and I don't really know what it is. Ideally, I'd like to try a greenback speaker. Just recently I've been favouring using a greenback G12M as a cabinet IR, and I like what it does to the gain sound, but I don't have access to one right now, so in the future maybe I'll give that a whirl as well. That was getting warm. First impression is that it's smoother than it was before, but I'm lacking a little bit of top. That's not necessarily a bad thing because I end up rolling off loads of top anyway, so. Making my overdrive sound really, really smooth. I prefer that. On the clean, it's very warm. It's not got quite as much bite as it had before. I could live with that though, to be honest. That's, for me, I think this is an improvement. Yeah, I could get on with that. So out of the two that I've tried thus far, I'm inclined to keep the Heritage 30 in there because I'm kind of digging it. It sounds a little smoother on the drive. It's not that it's not a smooth sound anyway, it's just that I think they've tried to get it so that it sounds good for clean. I play dirty more than I play clean, and so I kind of want a more of a greenback sound, and I'm tempted to find a greenback and try that in it as well. Greenback's going to be a little underpowered at 25 watt is my only concern. I know these are only 30 watt, but it just, I don't know, as a standalone, it's a 250 watt solid state amp. My other amp is a 40 watt Bogner, so I would figure that 25 watt's going to be pushing it. I might better blow that a bit easy. First impression, that's not as fizzy as I remember it being. Interesting, let's try it on a cleaner sound. On a cleaner sound, it's borderline too boomy. That's got a lot more bottom end. Nice, but borderline too much bass for this this speaker, I think, for this cab rather. Yeah. Some air sound I haven't actually played today yet. I've only changed the speaker out. Yeah, better than I remember it being, in actual fact. So let me mic it up and give you a little bit better examples. I've put the Blug speaker back in the box. Now that I've heard it again, I actually prefer probably both of the other two speakers. I'm not running the Blug down in any way because I really like this cab and I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't like it. But the speaker sounds a little bit almost lacking in low now that I've taken the Vintage 30 out, which was borderline too much low end. I'd be interested to know what that was like at gig volume. I reckon it might be too much for the cab. So my temptation is to put the Heritage 30 back in. been trying to think how I can summarize what I've learned from this, what I can take away from it. I think one of the big things for me is I realize I like two different sounds. I just want to cut in and say that I never qualify that statement. So I like two sounds. One is a clean sound that's kind of scooped mid-range, nice shimmering high, quite a lot of low end. And then for my drive sound, I like something that's borderline boxy, quite a lot of throaty mid, usually more towards low mid or what I perceive a Dumble amp to sound like, not that I've ever played one of those. So ideally it would be a 2 amp setup, which I used to do, but really I just want to cut down on the amount of gear that I carry in. I think for me, the compromise is that I'm going to put up with having a slightly worse clean tone. Most of my playing is done here at home, and I always play on a kind of a classic rock, smooth, mid-level kind of drive. It suits, the slide and that kind of thing to have more mid-range. So I've ended up with the Heritage 30. The Vintage 30 was better than I thought it was going to be, but has too much harsh upper mid. For my ears, I was hearing it having more low end, particularly on the clean stuff. According to the spec sheet online, it's saying that it actually doesn't have too much low end, so I'm not quite sure what I'm hearing. Maybe it's the way that it's working with the ports. Who knows? I think the Blug is a good bet if you want a little bit of both. It's got that mid-range for the dirt channel, but it's also got quite a nice warm bottom end and enough high that you've got some nice attack on the clean. For me, there is an element of fizz with it, which is why I've ended up with the Heritage 30. Both the Blug and the Vintage 30 are 60 watts. The Vintage 30 is 60 watts. That's a really weird thing. In terms of the weight of the drivers, the Blug was 2.5 kilogram, the Vintage 30 was 3.5 kilograms, so a kilogram heavier, and the Heritage 30 was 2.4 kilogram. So I've actually made the cab slightly lighter, although I've now got an underpowered cab. I would like to get hold of a greenback. I think that's probably going to be my speaker of choice. The big thing that I'm going to take away from this is that I end up dialing out a lot of high end from my drive sounds, because there's this kind of frequency in the top end it's a fizz kind of frequency around about 2.7, something like that. And I'm always trying to dial it out. I roll the tone off on the guitar, I roll the treble down on the amp, and I'm trying to dial out that one frequency. Well, it's baked into the speaker, and I think that with a smoother speaker, I would be inclined to actually put more top than I would regularly play with, because I wouldn't be trying to get rid of that fizzy character. So that's interesting, that the speaker is how fizzy something is. I had a G12, what was it? A G12 T75, which was the fizziest speaker I've ever played through. So it's basically baked into the speaker, and you can't dial it out with a tone knob. It's very, very difficult to do that. Anyway, I hope you dug the video. This feels like a vlog. Does this feel like a vlog to you? I think I may have vlogged. Sorry about that. I'll see you guys next time. Later.